Well, first of all, welcome to the meanwhile fourth Science Slam of LuxDoc. Tonight is going to be a little bit more of an intimate evening, as you can see. So for all of those who are hungry, be happy. There's going to be a lot of food and a lot of drinks. I'm looking at two people in specific. That's when you know you're around. Those two guys? No. So my name is Laura, and together with LuxDoc, I've been organizing this Science Slam since 2012. And so I suppose that some of you have been here already. So what we are going to do now first is to talk a little bit about LuxDoc, and therefore we have Isabel, who is a member of the committee, and she will quickly introduce LuxDoc, and then we will continue. Hi, how are you tonight? Even if we are not a lot of people, we have the audience and the entertainment. So, I'm currently the secretary of LuxDoc for this year. We will have LuxDoc, as most of you know, LuxDoc is Luxembourg's association for PhD candidates. Have you heard of LuxDoc before? I hope so, because we are sending a lot of emails out, and I guess please don't put it in the spam folder. LuxDoc represents the interests of the PhD candidates. PhD life is really hard sometimes, often, most of the time, and some conditions can be prettier. So LuxDoc can help you. So even if you have worries, you always can turn to an association called LuxDoc, and you also can become active. We are currently searching also for active members. At the end of the year, we'll have also General Assembly for active members for the next year. So what can I say else? I hope you will enjoy the evening. And we made a little change. Because on the poster it was written for non-members to pay an entry fee of €8. This will fall apart. Yay! You will have dinner and drinks for free this evening, and of course the entertainment. Yay! So if you want, you can give us a small contribution, but you are not obliged to it. Okay? So, for all of those that have never been to a slam before, we just thought that maybe to get a glimpse of what slam actually is and how it works here this evening at Casino, we are going to show you two very short movies. The first movie is actually about the first slam in 2012, and then afterwards you're going to see the movie from last year's slam. So take notice, and then afterwards you get a short explanation on how the slam works and what the rules are. Okay, so enjoy. small idea what this is about. No, it's not just about the food and the drinks, although you saw a lot of it. It's not just about that. So how does the Science Slam actually work? Well, it is so that we have 3 contestants. The order in which they will appear has already been decided. So each and every one of these slammers will have between 5 to 10 minutes. And after their slam, the next slammer will appear. So we will have 3 slammers coming just right after one each other. And then at the end, you, the audience, will decide who's going to win this year's slam. Now, we have the Olympic idea, everybody is a winner, but I mean, hey, somebody has to win the whole thing. And how are you going to determine who's the winner? Just by clapping, okay? So keep in mind all of the 3 slammers, and after each presentation, just think about how much you liked it, and then at the end, just clap for your favorite, okay? Questions? No? Clear? Great. So we're going to start with our first slammer. His name is Marcin. Welcome. Now, Marcin is actually a PhD candidate at the University of Siena in economics, and he's right now here in Luxembourg to do an internship at Statec. And as you can see, the title of his slam is the grass on the other side always greener? So, good luck and enjoy!
Thank you very much for introducing me, and thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to start. That would be useful. Yeah. So, I'm here to talk about grass, and actually in the next 10 minutes I'll try to answer this question. Is the grass on the other side always greener? And before I do that, I would like to just explain you the motivation behind this research. And as I live in the countryside, here in Luxembourg, close to Bachelage, I don't know if you know the place, I observe the world of animals every day. And I see situations like this, and I think, is it something that really drives you to go behind the fence, that you appreciate the grass on the other side more than yours? I thought it was an accident, but then I have seen this camel doing the same thing, and I thought, something is going on. But then I thought, okay, in the end, it's nothing bad. You just enjoy the grass. The problem is when it becomes dangerous. So when you're really struggling too much to appreciate and enjoy the grass of your neighbor than yours. And I have elaborated a bit this phenomena, and I have found an answer to this question, whether the grass on the other side is always greener. It's pretty easy. I guess you know it all. It depends. So when you hear this answer, you ask the second question. On what? So, I thought, maybe you can just enjoy your grass more than your neighbor's grass when you do it together with your cow friends or sheep friends, and then you don't have to jump on the other side of the fence and risk your health. And I thought, if this is true, why not investigate the world of humans and see whether the same phenomena, the same pattern of behavior exists in the worlds of human beings, and whether the world of animals resembles the world of humans, and do we say, like those dogs, that others must fail in order to make us succeed? Well, I have investigated a bit great philosophers of this world of science, and I have found this quotation that says, "A house may be large or small, as long as the neighboring houses are likewise small, it satisfies all social requirements for residence. But let there arise next to the little house a palace, and the little house shrinks to a hut." Doesn't it sound like, whoa, like truth? And do you know who said that? It's a very old, compared to the social science of today. It was this guy from Trier, coming not far away. So, Another famous person from the other side of the globe, Theodore Roosevelt, once said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And you know what I have found? That even in the world of children, the joy coming from your ice cream may be stolen by your friend or your neighbor that is having a bigger ice cream. I thought, even in the innocent world of children, this phenomenon happens. So something is bigger is happening. And then I have investigated a bit the databases of the social surveys, and in the words of humans, all comes to mind as usual, you know? So all the social comparison or the class comparison, they basically go in one direction in comparing your income to the income of your neighbor, instead of comparing the grass maybe, because if you have more income, you can buy better grass, you can plant it whatever you need, right? So I have looked at the European Social Survey that is performed in more or less 30 European countries, representative samples. And there was this question asked: how important is for you to compare your income with other people's incomes? And around 30% of the respondents, they declared an elevated importance of income comparisons in their lives. So I thought, this is a serious thing and I have to do something about it. So the research question of my research is this: what makes us less envious? What makes you appreciate your grass more than, and what makes you focus on the grass of your neighbors less? So then I thought that, yeah, our world is quite similar to the world of animals, because the answer is pretty much the same. Is together is better. Just enjoy your grass together with your friends, and you don't have to look at the grass of your neighbor. But how do I find this answer? I'm using two samples. The first one is coming from Germany, from 25 years of survey performed in that country, representative samples, more or less 500,000 observations. And this is the result. It looks messy, but I will explain everything. On the y-axis, you have life satisfaction of the respondent, and on the x-axis, you have income of the reference group. It's called in social science basically the income of the people you compare to. What you can see on this graph is that when the income of others, of your neighbor, increases, your life satisfaction goes down, right? We agree on that. But I divide the sample into two groups of people who are sociable and those who are not sociable. And what you see that income of your neighbor steals your happiness much more if you are not sociable. It goes from around 7 to 6.6. But if you are sociable, if you are enjoying the things with your friends, it goes just from around 0.2 to 7. So when you look at the slopes and the average effect, it turns out that income of others is less harmful by 50% if you are sociable, which compares the hypothesis. But I thought maybe it's just the Germans, no? Because they are basically good in a lot of things. So I thought, what about Europe? And this sample is coming from more or less 20 countries in Europe, with 200,000 observations. The result is exactly the same. You have life satisfaction and income of your neighbor. If you're not trustful, as trust is also a measure of quality of your social relationships, you can say. Again, your happiness can be decreased by the income of others, rising income of others, from around 8 to 7.5 if you are trustful. But it may be much worse when you are not trustful. You can see that it's decreasing from 7.5 to 6.5. And again, when you look at the average effect at the slopes of these lines, you discover that the income of others is less harmful by 51% if you're a trustful person. So, exactly the same result from Germany and whole Europe. So what are the conclusions of this? First one is sociable and trustful people are less materialistic, and they don't care that much about the income of others, and they are enjoying their grass more. Together is better. It means less competition and more cooperation. So good social relationships make you appreciate your own grass more. And that's the answer to the question. So these are just the conclusions. What is the take-home message? Enjoy the grass together with your friends and stay happy.
So, thank you very much, Marcin. So, the first slam. Now, up to the second one. This time we don't have just one slammer, we have a duo. So, I would like to ask Josh and Mafalda and Josh to come up on the stage. Now, about these two. Mafalda just recently, well, in August, finished a PhD in biology here at the University of Luxembourg. And, yeah, congratulations. And Josh, well, that wasn't me. Josh is basically a great supporter of the scientific and research community of Luxembourg, and I think due to some familiar links was kind of pushed to assist. So the two are going to talk about a fatty talk. So do you need the table?
Yes.
Yes, so let's just give you need this? Okay. No? Okay, so please enjoy our second slam.
So much. We kind of wanted to make you a little bit jealous. Of course you cannot, but we still try. There will be plenty of food in the end, but anyways, food is always good, and in our society it's very hard to refrain from eating. That's what we do most of the time. And I can start by telling you that during the 4 years of my PhD, I worked on fat cells and how cells differentiate into this fatty phenotype that you can see. So it's biology. And the conclusion is, I guess everyone and each of you could tell, is simple, is that we should eat less and do more sports. But how are you, Josh?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to see you. How is your dinner?
Well, the food is very tasty, but it feels quite heavy.
Quite heavy.
Yeah.
Wow, I cannot guess why.
You want to try?
For now it's good. It's a long night. So, in fact, yes, there's a lot of calories and energy in the food.
Wait, energy?
Energy,
You
yes.
said energy. But it doesn't feel like it because I'm eating it and I get very sleepy.
I can't guess why. Can you understand this? Well, unfortunately, the food has a lot of calories, and these calories contain a lot of energy. And to digest it, our body puts a lot of effort into our stomach and intestine, and there's less blood to the brain, so we get a bit sleepy.
Okay, so all this energy, but what is this used for?
Well, everything what we are doing in the body uses energy. So even to get up, to walk, to run, to jump, and to think. Sometimes we also think as PhD students, not so much. And sometimes we need energy. So it's good for the metabolism, it's good to keep us healthy and protect us from cold and from flu and all things you can imagine that the body is doing.
But you know, I'm eating all this food, but I have the feeling that all this energy I'm eating is not put into action.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. That's because unfortunately there's so many calories and we are not doing that much activity. We are all sitting. Maybe you should all get up and jump. Can you all get up and jump?
Come on, get up!
Guys, that's so sedentary. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you. Exactly. So there's so much calories that our body cannot deal with all of it. And so what happens is that
Where is this fat stored?
I have no idea. I asked you, George.
I don't know either. Maybe Christoph? You know, you have an idea where the fat is stored? Anyone?
Everywhere.
Do you have any fat, maybe? No. No fat. Oh,
So
man.
my father, tell me, where is this fat stored?
I need all of you so badly. Oh my goodness. I also don't know. Well, indeed, we have these fat cells. So they are called adipocytes, and they are specialized in uptaking fat from the blood. And this fat comes from the food, and they store it in our belly, in our butt, everywhere, as you know so well. And they grow as much as we are eating.
Okay, so fat cells. So they do stuff in our body, but where are they coming from?
Well, indeed, in our body we have many different cells, as you all know, and some of them they are just quiet, they are not doing anything until they receive some signals. And in case of the fat cells, they are basically waiting for signals from food, which tell them, hey look, there's a lot of food around, so we have to grow and we have to take up this food because we might need it later. And so they start growing and accumulating fat like this.
I see, my father. So the food I'm eating helps my fat cells to start working.
Well, unfortunately, exactly. As much as we are eating these burgers and these delicious things, it will tell our cells to take it up, there is fat, bring more in.
So
Depending on what we eat. Exactly.
so it depends on what we eat. So you mean that if I eat vegetables instead of, let's say, a grumpy cat, my fat cells work differently.
Oh, George, you're eating grumpy cats? I want it as well!
Well, I will invite you next time, okay?
Grumpy cats, can you imagine a grumpy cat? We would all be so much grumpy cat. Well, indeed, vegetables and grumpy cats are a bit different in composition, and they have different vitamins and minerals and other nutrients that will tell our cells either to uptake more fat, or if we would not eat enough, to release the fat. So depending on what we eat, our fat cells will behave differently.
Okay, this starts to become really complicated for me. You know, I'm not a scientist, and I don't know about you, the audience, but my father, tell us, what are the fat cells used for?
Well, they are very important because, in fact, if none of us would have fat cells, we would actually not exist as adult humans, because the body, the vital organs of the body would not resist without having fat to support them. So they are also very useful to keep the fat away from vital organs such as the heart. And in cases of Western societies that we eat so much, as we reach our age and we become adults, we start eating less equilibrated and there can be an accumulation of fat, for example, around the heart. And this can be very dangerous. So please be careful during your PhD to sit and eat, but also exercise a little bit. It's a favor you can do to yourself. So they are good to keep us healthy and to remove fat from the blood and from our organs, other organs. And as we talked about the grumpy cat, indeed there are different nutrients that will make our cells respond differently. So, of course, the best to do is to have an equilibrated life and eat some fat, eat some non-fat, run a little bit, and most of all, they are good because it's always better to surf the waves than to hit the rocks. Don't you think, George?
Yes.
And Josh. So, we're already up to our third and final slammer. Roma, the stage is yours. Just if he still needs an introduction. So, Roma is not only the current president of LuxDoc, but also a PhD candidate working at Innovos. And he talks about calculation. That's all I remember. So the stage is yours. Enjoy.
I don't need a microphone. Can
Yeah.
everybody hear me? Yeah?
Yeah.
Also background? Yeah, thank you. Can I just have the clicker, please? Okay, so today what I will be doing is to present to you in a what I would say understandable way, How are you? In an understandable way, my current research paper that I'm doing. And as you can see, it is basically focusing on the use of Archimedean and non-parametric copulars in the estimation of conditional value at risk. So I guess you are all experts, but for those who are not experts, I thought about some person that lately tried to ask me a question when I was talking about my research project. And she said, so what's the research about? You're copulating in finance? And then obviously I said, yeah, and hunting for diagonals. So basically that's what I'm doing all day long when I'm at work. But just one advice, yes, I'm talking about copulars, and I also have the parental advisory because there is graphic content. So for those people who might think that they should be leaving, you can do it now. If not, you can stay here and come only on the journey of copulars, okay? So nobody's leaving, then just here is why I'm talking about the graphic content, because you know economists do it with models. What can I say? Okay, so what the heck are those copulars? When I started my research on copulars, I asked myself this question, where does this word copular come from? So since I'm not a linguist, I went to the dictionary and I saw that copula has its origin in the Latin, which comes from copulare. For those who did the Latin, I didn't, so I didn't know it. And for those whose Latin became a bit rusty, but I thought, okay, let's go and look for some definitions in German, French, and so on. What did I find? Well, in German it means Begante. So, okay, yeah, why not? In French it's couité, and surprisingly in urban English it's touchak. So, but I'm not a linguist, so I'm sorry for maybe I misgot the translation. So, but basically that's what I'm doing all day long, I'm copulating. So, but for those who are doing statistics, it's more interesting to know that copulars are nothing else than multivariate distribution functions of uniformly distributed random variables. Okay, might be getting a bit rusty, might be getting a bit complicated for those whose probabilistic knowledge became a bit rusty. Don't worry, I have some backup slides for those who want to read afterwards. It's just a short introduction. You can come to me later and I will be explaining it to you. Oh yeah, there is a typo for those who see it. Okay, so what are copulars? So what are those uniformly distributed random variables? So I put a little picture out there. Who does recognize the uniformly distributed random variables? Please lift your hand. Nobody? Yeah? Surprising, because these are not uniformly distributed random variables, because I put on the wrong picture. So these are actually uniformly distributed random variables, but don't worry, I will be going into more details later, as you obviously know. So, why do we use those uniformly random variables that I am talking all day long? Well, because uniforms make us look serious, also in research. The more uniform you are, the better you are in the end. But that's not the only point of why I'm using those uniformly distributed random variables. It's because they look so damn amazing. Because just took this first graph I had with you, and what I will be doing is I change the x-axis and a bit the y-axis to get those uniformly distributed random variables. They look sexy, don't they? I like them. Or what you can do is do another transformation. You transform the xy axis and the x-axis, and what you get are uniform random variables. Those look sexy, don't they? And I'm even going here for the gender equality by including some men. Sorry about this. So, next topic of my talk, what is this conditional value at risk? Well, to basically explain it in an easy way is think about a piece of cake that you want to split into different parts. And there is, you all know this situation, you have back home, you have an uncle. And when you are distributing this cake, he says, yeah, but you know, I don't like that part that much, I want more of the chocolate. So he takes the knife and cuts the cake, and you say, what did you do right now? I wanted to cut it differently. So he already cut the cake and you cannot change it. So that's basically the condition that he gave you. Now you just have a second knife and you know more or less how much he eats. So you can just decide on where you do the second cut. And this second cut is what I do is the conditional value at risk. For those who are doing risk management in the finance industry, it's more about a measure of how much money you can lose. But here, let's think about the pieces of cake. So, that's the piece of cake that I wanted to cut, and this is the formula. I prefer the formula, to be honest. Does make you fat. So, in my paper, I basically run a fight between three people. Most of you probably know them. The first one, Carl Friedrich Gauss. 78 or 75 years of pure mathematical knowledge. Who can beat that? Only the marvelous-looking Jeffrey S. Racine, McMaster University, doing statistics on non-parametrics and cross-validation model testing. Who doesn't know it? Third one, who does recognize this? Archimedes. He's one of the favorite mathematicians, astronomers, inventors, and whatever he also did. 200 BC, I guess. Yeah? The historians? Not the historians, but everybody. Okay, first fight. Let's see who wins. Gauss versus Racine. So we have the first fight who says, okay, I'm going for the parametric stuff. I know my formulas are correct, and I will jump in and all my models will be fine. Jeffrey Racine, who does the non-parametrics, who says, no, my methodology is way better than yours is. So let's see what happened. Those are my results. Aren't they great? We have the duck, and we have the nose-diving seagull. Why did I present that paper? Because this is basically the results I got. Okay? So here we have the duck, and here we have the nose-diving seagull. The problem is, and now I'm coming back to why I'm hunting all day long my diagonals, because what I want is to target this first diagonal. The closer I am to the diagonal, the better the model will be. So in this case here, what we see is that our duck did not perform that well. Because here, in the tail, as with the duck, you have a lot of differences. So basically, they have become too much. Whereas with the seagull, you have better results because, okay, they are still not that good, but they are doing better. So, who is the winner? The winner, obviously, is the marvelously looking Jeffrey Racine. Next slide. There we go. Jeffrey Racine versus Archimedes. There we have an unfair fight because basically he was a very smart guy and he's dead, so he cannot fight back anymore. He's still living, obviously. So, but yeah, that's the course of history. Let's see what happened. There we have the Archimedean copulas for everybody that recognizes them. Nice formulas. The NP copulas, the non-parametric one, even nicer formulas for those who are really into it. No typo here. Okay, so, and the winner is the guy from Syracuse, because what did he do? When you see the copulas, when you're using the Archimedean copulas, and by the way, they just bear his name, he never did them, they just surprisingly bear his name. Those are targeting very well the diagonals, and so even the results indicate that they are doing a pretty good job when you're estimating conditional value at risk. And that's basically what I'm doing all day long. Thank you very much for your attention. Sorry, I was a bit more than 10 minutes.
You shouldn't have said anything. So I would just ask Marcin, Georges, and my father to come back on stage. Okay. So now you heard three very different, very great presentations. So first of all, thank you very much for participating, to all of you. Now it comes a moment of truth. What we are going to do is we're going to go one after the other and you're going to clap. Okay, so first Marcin, then my father and Josh, and last Roman. And then we are going to decide. Maybe Connie, yes, can you assist me? Yes, okay. So let's hear it first for Marcin.
Can we clap for the others?
Yeah, of course you can. Marcin? Thank you. The new committee for organizing the events and for all of you for coming. And yeah, so
Wait. Laura has been amazing the last years. Actually, I missed one time slam and I'm really pity, but it's a tradition for LuxDoc, and you did a splendid job all the years. So thank you. Thank you.
nothing really much changed. I still have the same haircut.
I'm thinking about different options to you in 50 years.
So, I guess there's not much to say, but there is food, there is drinks. Please enjoy, use it as a nice networking and social evening. The food is going to be served in the aquarium, so the glass veranda. For all of you who need a cigarette, you can smoke outside, and the toilets are downstairs. So thank you very much and enjoy the evening. We're just quickly doing a photo.